This is NBC 10, live at Issue.
NBC 10, live at Issue, Sunday, May 3rd, 2009. Philadelphia finds itself short of money big time. Who will be the next fiscal watchdog city controller? The primary election is just 16 days away. The three Democratic candidates are here now on Live at Issue.
For example, New York City.
Good morning. I'm Steve Highsmith. The Great Recession of 2009 is costing the city billions. Who's watching the henhouse? On Tuesday, May 19th, the next primary election will be held. Philadelphia voters will select candidates for district attorney and city controller, among other positions. The city controller heads the city's auditing department and serves on a number of city commissions. The office looks at how efficiently, effectively, and properly money is spent and the impact of revenue and spending decisions. Here now, seated in alphabetical order, are the three Democratic candidates in the May 19th primary: John Braxton, Alan Butkovich, and Brett Mandel. There is only one Republican candidate, Al Schmidt, in the GOP primary, and therefore only the Democratic race is dealt with here today. I look forward to talking with Mr. Schmidt in the fall. Let's get right to it. You're running for city controller. You are running for re-election, Mr. Butkovich. City controller's office. I want to start with this postulation that the office ought to be abolished, and you tell me why not. The city charter obviously says it exists, and it would be difficult to get rid of it. But when people look at how it has been run over the last few decades and the problems in the city of Philadelphia, explain why it wouldn't be better to have private firms that do corporations or nonprofits do a better job at less money than the city controller's office. Mr. Mandel, begin.
Well, I'll agree with you that in the past, the city controller has not done the job. The city controller, every single year, according to the city charter, is supposed to audit every single department. The controller's not doing that. He's supposed to, by state law, give a formal opinion on the budget so that the public and our state oversight authority understands what's going on. He's declined to do that. If the city controller does his job, it performs a crucial function.
You think it's better than a private?
Absolutely. People have to have understanding that their government's working.
In a word, Enron. When you hire your own CPA firms, we saw that there were major scandals in the accounting business. The way we have functioned in the controller's office, where we've done about 40 performance and special audits, is we've identified $413 million in savings and efficiencies. We have come up with a proposal that will save another $331 million over 5 years in terms of pension contributions. We are an independent check and balance on the near absolute power of the mayor in Philadelphia. We single-handedly pointed out the waste and the misleading information in the school district, the $200 million deficit.
I want to get to some of these things, but Judge Braxton, do you think it's still a great idea to have a city controller?
I certainly do think it's a great idea to have a city controller, because if it's a truly professional office, all elements of the city government would respect its capacity to audit.
You take the Neighborhood Transformation Initiative, NTI, as an example. Now it looks like there are going to be 2 audits costing $200,000 using private consultants to help with the city controller's office and others. Why?
Well, because there's no confidence in the capacity of the controller's office to conduct those audits, nor is the controller doing what he said when he got elected, or prior to this election, in the original election.
Mr. Butkovich?
That's not true at all. What these guys try to do is confuse people, because most people don't know the details of auditing. It all has to do with the scope of the audits. We were engaged to look at which NTI projects were occurring in which neighborhoods and whether bond proceeds were used improperly. Now, Mayor Nutter is interested in doing greater detail in that area, and we often have multiple audits. You're talking about a $4 billion budget. You're talking about tens of millions of dollars. And they kind of talk like, get into it in detail, but get it over with real fast. And they kind of confuse.
All right, let's say that you all three get elected at your appropriate times, and you do a great job in the office. People will look at the city controller's office and they'll say, look, you got the bark of a Great Dane, but the bite of a Chihuahua. Nobody listens to you.
No, that's absolutely not true. If the controller is doing his job, not only does the controller have post-audit authority, where you can say this is what happened in city spending, this was bad, this was good, you have pre-audit authority. You have to approve every single payment that's made. So if you find problems in post-audit, that people are not working hours they're supposed to, or a contractor is not delivering the service he's supposed to, you're allowed to hold up those payments. As city controller, I will not be shy about doing that.
Sounds good, simplistic? What?
No, we do it all the time, but you have to do it in conjunction with the law. Mr. Mandel made a suggestion a few weeks ago about holding up payments on bond interest payments for the Eagles, and it's flat out.
It's not bond interest payments, Alan.
Flat out illegal.
That's not true.
Let's deal with the Eagles for just a moment. It's a
well, before we deal with the Eagles, can
yes,
we
sir.
talk about the fact that even our Philadelphia Inquirer recognized the fact that there was no confidence in this controller's office?
That's
Clearly,
an editorial board decision.
That is the editorial.
That's not
That's
true.
an editorial board decision. That's not necessarily a factual decision.
No, and
but it's a discussion.
And it's not even what they said. they said certain partisans, people in the Redevelopment Authority who are concerned about whether they're going to be
Oh,
criticized.
you're talking about the RDA story.
Yeah, so it's
no.
not even a true recitation of what the editorial said.
I'm talking about NTI.
Before we start throwing 4 or 5 different stories out there for the public, let's focus. I want to get to the Eagles, I want to get to taxes, I want to get to other things, but I want to stay on one subject here. Your opponent, and it's the tone of your office and Democratic control. Your Republican opponent, Al Schmidt, has basically had a tagline in which he says he would be a controller who won't be afraid to poke around. The implication being that no matter which of you wins, you're a Democrat in a Democrat-run city, you're afraid to poke around. You're foxes guarding the hen house.
Well, I tell you what, I would not be. Right now, the city controller is an elected party ward leader. He's not going to investigate the other ward leaders that run agencies in the government. I will.
Why? You're a Democrat.
I am beholden to no one. I will be elected by the people. I will report directly to them.
Judge?
I agree with him with regard to being truly independent. The present controller can't be independent. If he were, you would have known about what went on at the Robin Hood Dell. What happened to that report? What caused him not to release it fully to the district attorney so that those who mismanaged that facility and took the proceeds? Yes.
This is nonsense. I'm the only guy here who stood up to political pressure. When Senator Fumo called me and threatened me to try to get me to stop looking into Paul Vallis, when Vallis tried to do exactly what you suggested, take the powers of this office away and hire his own CPA firm, I'm the one who resisted that. I'm the one that found the $200 million problem. I'm the one who found significant misconduct in school administration. The question is the character of the individual and his backbone.
Let me follow this up. Mr. Mandel, Controller Butkowitz has proposed cutting spending, is cutting spending in his department. He's going to eliminate 18 positions. He says over the course of his tenure, he has produced that plan with the mayor that he mentioned about saving pension costs, an EMS report, a report on minority hiring and opportunity problems in the city, targeted, focused enforcement of the law. Why should your run not be viewed then, looking at what he's done, a fellow Democrat, simply as personal ambition?
The city administration laughs at the city controller's recommendations. They have disregarded most of them because they're simply not true. When you look at the city controller's office, one of the things that Alan Butkowitz has done, he's created an office of community affairs in his office. He's hired his own campaign treasurer to run that office. The city controller is supposed to be the office that points out waste and abuse. Our city controller right now is causing waste and abuse. As city controller, I would get rid of that office and save the taxpayers more than $250,000. And I would work with the administration to make sure that all of the recommendations we're making are not from gotcha audits.
Mr. Branch.
Well, that's the key, the gotcha audits. His audits are the kind of audits that he calls a press conference about to announce that he's done something rather than effectively bringing about change. Taking trans passes from children or saying that school children are going to commit crime because they get trans passes and they go down to the subways after school.
All right, I have to take a break. When we come back, we're going to follow up with Mr. Butkowitz on this and talk more about some of these specific issues in the race for city controller in a moment. Stay tuned.
You're watching NBC 10 Live at Issue.